সত্যি খেলা হয়েছে এবং খেলা শেষে আমরা জিতেছি। বাংলা আজকে সারা ভারতবর্ষকে বাঁচিয়ে দিয়েছে। বাংলার এই জয় সারা ভারতবর্ষের।
Hello, this week I come to you from a football ground in Kolkata because the Trinamool Congress is saying that Khala hoye gache or the game has been done. I'm Pallavi Ghosh and my this week's One Take asks the question that is Mamata Banerjee now preparing for the larger match which is the next Lok Sabha elections? Well, most of the opposition parties certainly are saying yes. Several of them reacted very warmly to her massive win for the third time round in the West Bengal state elections. Some of them called her a tigress. Many of them also said that now she has to look forward to a larger role and she's given them a ray of hope. Some, like the Shiv Sena, says that she's left behind a lesson which all of them need to learn. These are interesting times, interesting responses to Mamata Banerjee's massive win. Now, what happens next? Well, first, her concentration will obviously have to be on COVID management as the numbers are spiking up in West Bengal. All along, she has blamed the elections and the BJP for the spike in numbers, and now she has to walk the talk. But when life settles down, when things begin to settle down, she perhaps is now going to look at a political future. Lok Sabha elections are far away, but not too far away. Her first big challenge would also have to be to cobble the opposition together. The calculation is that will the BJP now become mellow? Will they be silent for some time? And that is because the BJP had made Bengal a prestige battle. They had pinned their hopes on it. If the BJP had won Bengal, it would have been seen as a massive, massive achievement by them because after all, who is the BJP was a common refrain till a few years back. But with the Lok Sabha performance, the BJP's hopes also came up and a BJP loss certainly is being seen as a huge setback to all the calculations. So what the opposition is hoping for is that now the BJP will be a little quiet and not play any of those matches that they keep on playing or the little political games. That's what the opposition is saying about the BJP. Now, what could happen next? Remember the last Lok Sabha elections, Mamata Banerjee had taken that lead where she was actually reaching out to say a Sonia Gandhi or a Akhilesh Yadav or a Tejasvi Yadav, giving them tips and also actually wondering how opposition or a strong front can be put up against the BJP. She soon got busy with the hustle and bustle of elections in West Bengal, and when the Lok Sabha elections started pouring in, she took a back seat because she realized that the only way she could go forward is if she wins Bengal, and therefore her entire concentration on that. But whether it's on the issue of demonetization, whether it's on the issue of lockdown, she's often wanted and taken the lead. This time round also she's trying to take the lead as far as the COVID management goes, which is why just moments after that victory speech of hers at Kalighat, we had a letter which has been written by the opposition parties in which all of them have asked the centre to provide for free vaccination for all, which means that the state government which are offering free vaccination will not have to subsidize or spend from the exchequer, which would actually have to now spend by the centre. They also requested the centre that they must ensure uninterrupted and sufficient oxygen supply. This is just a start. That's my calculation. You know, I can only give you a very interesting anecdote. I was sitting with a senior Trinamool Congress strategist and leader, and they were telling me that they have been bombarded with calls from several opposition leaders just a day before counting. One of them was from the Shiv Sena. And when they were asked that why are you calling up and why are you so concerned after all this counting which is taking place in Bengal, they said, you know, if BJP loses Bengal, we can at least hope that our government is safe. It's no surprise then that on the day when the results were pouring in and it was clear that Mamata Banerjee had gone in for a landslide win, crackers were burst in, say, Maharashtra, in parts of Maharashtra, in Pune, in Nashik, and the Shiv Sena leaders were actually, and the party workers were doing so. The reason and the calculation was simple. She's managed to save us. But today, Mamata Banerjee is now being called a tigress and she is likely to play a larger role. Among the leaders in the opposition spectrum, the only one who seems to have delivered repeatedly seems to be Mamata Banerjee. There are various factors which go in her favor. One, the massive win, the third time round. Second, managing to humble the BJP because they ran a very aggressive, sustained campaign in these elections and also against her. And she won an election despite a strong anti-incumbency and many allegations against her. All the calculations of the BJP and of other political parties were completely defeated by her. consolidation which worked in her favor was that of gender and Muslim. That gives her a head start over other opposition parties. Now, if you look at, for example, someone like a Sharad Pawar, he's veteran, but many feel that he's no longer the same person he used to be. Age also is not on his side so much. He's not going to be so active. And NCP is still being seen as a smaller regional party, not matching up to the TMC, which also is one of the most vocal ones inside the parliament, whether it's in Rajya Sabha as well as in Lok Sabha. That gives her a head start. Second, the woman factor, the gender factor becomes a very important factor because there is a sense among political analysts and observers that if anyone can take on Modi is actually a woman, which is the strong woman politician we have at this point of time. Sonia Gandhi not there, Mayawati definitely not. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, of course, is always going to live under the shadow of her brother Rahul Gandhi. Again, she's not completely there, and if she doesn't able to deliver in Uttar Pradesh, it will be a huge mark against her. Who fits the bill? Obviously, Mamata Banerjee. And therefore, it's the second factor which works in her favor. Apart from the fact is that many accused her of not understanding the national level politics. That charge can no longer perhaps take against her, because here what she was doing is she was actually battling those leaders who came in from the Hindi heartland, speaking in Hindi, in English. Language is no longer a barrier for her. She tried to make out this point that they are outsiders because they are bringing in a culture which is not akin to what Bengali Bhadrata or Bengali culture is all about. And therefore, this point or negative point which was against her, that she would not understand what the Hindi heartland politics is all about because she's never had to deal with them, I think the results show that this is not entirely true as far as the Mamata Banerjee factor is concerned. Well, these are these three strong points which go in her favor. Fourth, I think, and the most important is, we've seen the opposition being largely fragmented and divided. You know, a kind of a crab mentality, not letting any other opposition political party climb up because they want to assert themselves. At this point of time, most of the parties in the opposition spectrum, I think barring the DMK for that matter, are at an all-time low, whether it's an Akhilesh Yadav, Mayawati, of course, and then, of course, the Congress party, the left, and so others. I don't think they would have an objection now to Mamata Banerjee because for all of them, the bigger enemy is certainly the BJP. So she's poised to become perhaps assume that national role, a larger role, and it'll be interesting to see how she now works in the days to come. Once she deals with West Bengal, the COVID management, and the government formation, parliament session, whenever it takes place, the next big election is going to be Uttar Pradesh. What role is she going to play over there is going to be very interesting to watch out for, because a setback to the BJP in UP would be a massive setback for them. Do give in your response on the social media timeline, which I'm already getting because there are mixed responses to whether she can actually play a national role. Thank you so much for watching.